Welcome, everybody, to WagerTalk Today. I'm Lawrence Presman, excited to be doing this show. We've got an absolutely awesome lineup. We're starting right off the bat with Teddy Covers. We're going to look at some college basketball. We're going to try find you guys some great bets. We're going to take apart the Baylor and Texas Tech game, the Oklahoma and Kentucky game, and as a bonus play in the NBA, Teddy's going to look at the Warriors and the Kings. Kyle Anthony will be joining us with some UFC picks, and Steve Seagrave is going to be making his debut on WagerTalk Today. He's going to look at the Lakers and the Bucks. Andy Lang after that, like always, his regular spot, some prop bets for us. We're going to end the show with the great Gianni The Greek. I'm Lawrence Presman, co-founder of WagerTalk Today. If you guys have never been seen this show, stay with us all the way to the end. We take a lot of pride in finding you guys information that can make you money. Everybody loves money, especially this guy, Teddy Covers. Welcome to WagerTalk Today.
You don't remember when Steve Seagrave came on? I remember when he first joined.
I do.
And
I do.
We had him on WagerTalk Today, so it's not his debut.
Okay, there you go. Teddy on and correcting me already. Nothing has changed, and rightfully so. Rightfully so, Teddy. I messed up. It was a while ago, though, right? And it was horse racing. No, I can't remember, dude. I'm so old.
I remember interviewing him. I remember that he was good on WagerTalk Today. So I'm assuming he'll be good again today. Hopefully he'll be better than I was yesterday. I got my, yesterday was one of those days, Lawrence, that it couldn't. You come on, you're like, yeah, it's tournament season, let's go, and then I proceeded to get my ass kicked and burn my clients as well. So today's one of those days where we're dotting every I, crossing every T. I haven't posted anything yet for today, but. We'll have stuff posted before too long after the show is through.
Well, everyone is aware that I can't pick a college basketball game if I knew the score. Did not win last night in college hoops, but had a horrible hockey loss. Teddy, I'm up profit for my clients in hockey on the season. I'm having a great year. I am 0-8 with an empty net. 0-8 with an empty net this year. And I keep track of this stuff. That's the stuff that can drive you bonkers, dude. Anyway, let's get into some actionable information. We got 5 guests on today. Let's start right off the bat with Baylor, 19-13 this year, playing a 24-7 Texas Tech team. It's minus 6.5-ish for Texas Tech. The total in this game, 141. How do you suggest we bet this?
Yeah, looking at the Odds Logic live odds screen, I'm seeing 6.5 pretty much across the board, 141, the prevailing total here. And this is a scenario where one team is a lock to make the tournament. The other team, they probably played themselves off the bubble yesterday. But nonetheless, Baylor certainly with, in theory, more to play for than Texas Tech in this tournament. And look, they were pretty dominant in yesterday's game. Jeremy Roach, a guy who played at Duke, who's now playing at Baylor, quote, obviously it's a one-game season now in March, just taking advantage of just setting the tone, making them play to our pace. That's the biggest thing coming to March. You don't want to be behind and scratch and claw your way back into a game. You want to impose your will early, and I think we did that tonight. Now, nobody played hard minutes in that game for Baylor. All 5 starters did play 30-plus minutes, but they weren't hard minutes. And frankly, when we talk about these tournament back-to-back settings, I worry much more about fatigue day 3, day 4 than I do day 2. And this is only day 2 for Baylor. And of course, last night's game was pretty easy. They had a big run before halftime. K-State had no answer. Now, the first meeting was all Texas Tech. And after the game, Baylor head coach Scott Drew had this to say, quote, he said, they're going to make a run in the Final Four. They're a great team. We're going to do some adjustments. I don't think anyone is unbeatable. But it was certainly talk about how good this opponent is. And, of course, Baylor wasn't fully healthy in that contest. It was Roach's first game back after his second concussion of the season. And they were without VJ Edgecombe in that game. Edgecombe, a potential lottery pick next year. We like teams with NBA talent in tournament settings. And Edgecombe, of course, last night, 19 points, 10 boards. The quotes from Grant McCaslin from Texas Tech. This one stood out to me. These guys really enjoy being around each other every day. It's real. There's a lot of pressure on them for different reasons. There's a lot of strain. I worry about Texas Tech's intensity for tonight's game. It's Baylor or pass for this bettor.
Teddy covers likes Baylor plus 6.5 against Texas Tech. That game you can find on ESPN. Teddy, in keeping with television games, Kentucky not hosting, they're playing Oklahoma. And again, we have a minus 6.5, but this time we have a massive total, 161.5, and rightfully so. Both teams playing to the over all year. How are you betting this one?
So the Sooners won 81-75 last night, a back-and-forth battle with Georgia. The last 8 minutes, Oklahoma took control. They went on a 16-0 run in that ball game. And I did a video about that game yesterday. And I want to start with some of what I said in that video yesterday, because the Sooners are 6-0 against the spread their last 6. They're all as dogs. 4 of them have been outright upset wins during that span. To be Texas, Missouri State, Mississippi State, or 3 of them outright upset wins during that span. They had a 1-point loss to the same Kentucky team they'll face here. That was a game they led with 20 seconds left. They had a 3-point loss to Ole Miss, another game that they led with less than 20 seconds left. So they've been in every contest. And you're talking about Oklahoma catching points. They've been a monster. They built a fairly significant betting bandwagon in that sense. They've got NBA talent. The Frost, Jeremiah Fears, 29 points last night, a huge contest. And this is the Sooners team. Again, they started 13-0, and then they went in the SEC and lost their first 4, went 3-10 in mid-February before this surge. But they're surging right now, and their full season stats are lying, They're in must-win mode, and they're playing their best ball of the year right now. That's not an easy team to fade. That being said, the only way I can play this game is to fade Oklahoma. Kentucky's got home court advantage in the SEC tournament. Legit, all right? Their crowd will show, all right? And the Wildcats used to own this tournament. They won in 2010, 2011, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018. 1 win in 2019, no turning in 2020. They lost the first game in 21, 1 win in 2022 and lost to Vandy the first game last year, lost to A&M 2 years ago, lost to A&M the first game last year. Kentucky's recent SEC tournament performance, very different from their historical. This is Mark Pope's first season as the Wildcats head coach. In his introductory press conference, he talked about, winning this tournament. All right. Quote, "It's Kentucky. There's no fan base like this in the world. We really devoted to everything we humanly can as we're devoted to doing everything we can humanly possible as a team to make that happen." All right. It feels like Kentucky's going to make a run. It feels like Kentucky is a team I don't want to step in front of in this tournament right now. So for all the success that Oklahoma has had, and including against Kentucky, it's Kentucky or pass for me in this one. I don't want the dog when the favorite is very, very interested in coming in with something to prove themselves.
Teddy covers with us. Teddy, before we get into some NBA, let's talk about what you got going for the clients. Do you have any promo up, anything we need to know about?
So I have not yet posted for today. Like I said, I got my butt kicked yesterday. When I have a particularly bad night, for me, it's important to make sure that you dot every I, cross every T the next day. So I'm going to post. We'll have stuff up before 1 p.m. Eastern time, 10 a.m. Pacific time. I don't expect to have a deep card today, but we're going to have one or two strong plays. I'm confident of that. I want to talk about Odds Logic, 7-day all access, free. Just go to oddslogic.com/Teddy. And if you've never used a live line service, this is the week to do it. The numbers have been jumping up all over the place and bounced around all over the place. And you can see what it can bring for you. So just check it out, oddslogic.com/Teddy. Get a free 7-day all access.
There we go. Teddy covers. Let's get into some NBA. We got the red-hot Golden State Warriors, winners of 5 in a row and 9 of their last 10. Just beat Portland 130-120. Did not cover, though. Have not covered a spread in 3. They're playing Sacramento tonight, a team that I think came into this year with more expectations than they've delivered. 33-31 on the year, under a losing record ATS. How are you attacking this game?
So right now, looking at the Odds Logic live odds screen, we've seen a little bit of Golden State money, 6.5 at the open. Now we're seeing 7s, even a couple of 7.5 popping up. Total sitting in the 234 range. There's some variance on that. And this has been a Sacramento series of late. They won 5 straight until they met right after the All-Star break. And that game was all Warriors, 132-108. Part of the Jimmy Butler factor. I mean, obviously, Warriors 9-1 since the All-Star break. The only loss during that span, by the way, came to Philadelphia, of all teams. And Butler's quotes for the Warriors are as positive gets. Quote, I think it's everything that I expected, everything I actually dreamed of, too, if I'm being brutally honest. They just want to win. There ain't no individual goals here. They don't care who scores. They don't care who gets triple doubles. None of that. All I want to do is win a championship. Butler talking about the Warriors' lack of size. Quote, we're faster than a lot of teams. We have a lot of high-level IQ guys. We don't use the lack of size as an excuse. We're expected to win, no matter who's in the lineup, no matter how tall anyone is. We are expected to win. We've been doing that lately. And I have a feeling we will continue to do it. Of course, the Warriors are also supposed to get Jonathan Kuminga back in the lineup. He's missed the last 31 games with a bad ankle. He's likely to return tonight as well. That could be why this number moved from 6.5 to 7. So Golden State's playing good ball. They've been bet on. They blew out Sacramento the last time these two teams met, even though the series history points, recent series history tilts towards the Kings. But from a spot standpoint, this game screams Sacramento. All right, the Kings have 5 2-game losing streaks since the calendar turned to 2025. They have 0 3-game losing streaks. They've bounced back very well off multiple defeats, and they're coming off an ugly loss. You know, a game where the Knicks shot 54% from the floor. Knicks led by 35 in the fourth quarter of that game on Sacramento's home court. First, they had the overtime loss against the Clippers, the game where they blew a 7-point lead in the last 2 minutes and then lost by a bucket in OT, or by a point in OT, and then the blowout loss to the Knicks the next night. You know, Malik Monk, who just got back from injury, quote, they just outworked us, came in and were out physicaling us. They just punked us tonight. We didn't get any loose ball. They were beating us to every loose ball. They just outplayed us. So they've had 2 days off. They just got punked in a game where they were outworked and outplayed. You know, this is a Kings spot. So while I'm not excited about stepping in front of Golden State, it's the only way to play this game. Sacramento or pass for this better. I'm expecting a battle, not a blowout.
Teddy Covers, outstanding segment. Great stuff. I hope you have a bounce back night tonight, my brother. Thanks for doing this, and we will see you next week. Let's keep the show moving, everybody. If you guys like what you're hearing, please take a second out of your day and hit that like button. It's just a thumbs up. It takes literally boom, and you're done. Boom, like boom, done. Okay, let's move our attention to Kyle Anthony and some UFC bets. How are you, Kyle?
Good, Prez. Good. I see you're hiding the growth of the hair today, but I like the hat. But I was hoping we could see the process of the hair grow, and the weird stages we're gonna get. There, there it is. All right, put
it's not that, dude.
Okay,
it's that.
Fair.
It's that I'm going skiing as soon as we're done the show, and I'm not really. I don't want to put gel in my hair. This hat will be on every day until the end of March. Let's turn our attention to UFC, dude. Let's go. We got 2 bets we're going to give out. Waldo Cortes-Acosta versus Ryan Spann. You like Spann as a dog. I love when you come on and give these dogs out. Did it last week and the week before. Why should we bet Ryan Spann here?
Yeah, so we have Waldo Cortes-Acosta minus 170. On the comeback here, you've got Ryan Spann plus 150. Now, I was pretty surprised that this line is where it sits here, where you've got, you know, a sizable favor here in Waldo, where both of these guys do have multiple flaws, and that's just going to provide a lot of variance in a fight like this. Now, with that being said, Waldo does have some good boxing. He does utilize the jab well. He does utilize also good volume, and that's kind of where he has found some success. But I think another reason why this line is wide is due to the fact that Waldo's 12-1 in his career, 5-1 in the UFC, and that always gives your, average bettor. They look at, records. That always pushes them that way. But you look at who Waldo has beat, and it's probably some of the worst heavyweights that the UFC has ever signed. I mean, he's beating guys like Jared Vandera, 1-6 in the UFC. Chase Sherman, 2-6 in the UFC. Lucas Gretzky, 1-5 in the UFC. And even Andrei Arlovsky, who's a known guy, but he was 45 years old on an 0-4 run. And then also Rebellis Spain, who also got cut. All of these guys are not even in the organization anymore. The only guy that he lost to was De Lima, where De Lima utilized the leg kicks and ended up getting some takedowns. And I think that could be a path here for Ryan Spann. Now, on the other side here, Ryan Spann, he's moving from light heavyweight to heavyweight. And that, to me, I think is actually a good move. Spann is a guy that has definitely shown bad cardio. I think his massive frame, he drains himself to get to the light heavyweight division. Now he's going to be in the heavyweight division, and I think he finds success there. And, he's had ups and downs in the UFC, but at least he's fighting UFC caliber fighters and guys that have wins in the UFC and have a career in the UFC. And that's also where I look at it, that Spann is the more well-rounded fighter. He's going to have the bigger power. He's also going to have the grappling advantages and the more dangerous fighter between these two guys, where he's got 22 victories, 19 by stoppage. I think he's the more explosive fighter. I think the takedowns will be there. And I'm just not high on Waldo at all. I do think that Ryan Spann probably gets the job done inside the distance, but I'm comfortable with this plus 150 number here. I think this line is off, and I think Ryan Spann gets the job done.
Hit that like button, everybody. Come on. Kyle Anthony absolutely taking apart this UFC fight. Kyle Damon Blackshear. Now that's the name, Damon. My parents were going to go with that. It was Lawrence or Damon, and they fought, dude. Like, it almost caused a divorce. Anyway.
Can I call you Damon from now on? Can I just call you Damon? I'll stick with it. I'll call you Damon.
Let's combine it. I want to be called the Prez.
Yeah, okay. I like it. Off the top, I like it, Prez. That was creative.
Okay. Damon versus Cody. How should we bet this game?
Yeah, so we've got Damon Blackshear here. He's a massive minus 485 favorite. On the comeback here, you've got Cody Gibson plus 370. Now, both of these fighters do have very similar skill set when you're looking at it. You've got both of these guys. They're going to look to wrestle. They're going to look to, have some grappling. They do have some decent striking, and they do both like to push some type of pace. Now, the issue here is the fact that all those categories I just said all favor Damon Blackshear. This is a terrible matchup for Cody Gibson, and obviously the line is indicating that, and that's also why we're going to get creative here on how we're going to place our money. Now, for Cody Gibson, this is a spot where Cody does have some good striking, but he likes to lean on his wrestling. He likes to lean on the grappling if the fight is really, whether it's getting tough or he wants to change a pace. And he's just not going to have that here against Damon Blackshear. Blackshear is a very high-level jiu-jitsu guy. He's got fantastic grappling overall. And I think that also, if this fight does get to the ground, he's going to have slicker transitions, better reversals. He's also going to be a guy that, just is going to be flat out better when they're talking about the grappling and scrambling. And I think that also being the more dangerous fighter, and that's really where I'm going with this play, is that, you've got Damon 15 victories. He's got 12 by stoppage, and also the fact that Cody right now, I feel like is on a decline. Even though he's coming off some wins, I think he's still on the decline, 37 years old. And also you look at Damon where, he's the same thing where he doesn't have the greatest record for these guys, but he's 3-3-1 in the UFC. All three of his wins do come by finish. His 3 losses and the draw were all against very strong opponents: Montel Jackson, Farad Basharat, Mario Batista, who we fought on short notice, still had a good account of himself. And even the draw was against Yusuf Zalal, who I am very high on. So this is a spot here where I think Damon is going to be able to outpace, outpressure, outwork him, and probably find the finish on the feet or on the ground here. So I do like Damon Blackshear getting off the minus 485 number. Damon inside the distance is sitting around plus 175, and I think that's a likely path for him to get that finish.
Wow. Kyle Anthony, in and out. That's what she said. Kyle, what do you got to promote?
So this weekend, I have a 4% best bet play up. Probably this card I'm just going to be sitting with one play. I do really, really like this spot that we have here. Since August, we have cashed 80% of events. And since November, we've cashed 83% of our best bets. That's 4 or 5% plays. Got a 4% play up right now, and feeling good about it, ready to cash. And I love the hair, Prez. I love the hair.
Well, you know what, Kyle? It loves you. Now can you leave?
Appreciate it.
Kyle Anthony, everyone. Johnny Detroit with a request. He wants to see a picture of when Prez was a break dancer. I went under the name Mr. Cool. I will find a picture eminently. Hopefully get it to Dan and get it up on this very show, because I am a multitasking machine. Steve Seagrave joining us. Steve, I apologize, man. I started by saying this was your first time on, but that is not true. It has been a while, though. How are you?
I'm great. I've been. I think that's my third time, but I definitely need to see that breakdancing picture for sure.
No problem. Well, while you're breaking down the Lakers and the Bucks game, TNT special, I will look for that picture. This game goes early tonight. The Milwaukee favorite at -6.5. And this Milwaukee team, losers of 3 straight. Lakers, losers of 2 straight. Break this game down for us, and I will look for that picture.
Well, we're going to be looking at a player prop here in Brook Lopez, over 11.5 points. He's been very aggressive without Bobby Portis in the lineup, going over in 9 of his last 12 games, outside of some tough matchups against Orlando and Cleveland. The other one, a 30-point blowout against Dallas that limited his minutes. He's also seen great shot volume with 10-plus field goal attempts in 7 of his last 11 games. Now he's facing a Lakers team that's really decimated with injuries, going to be lacking some size tonight. No LeBron James, no Hachimura. Jackson Hayes has already been ruled out as well. They're going to be busy trying to contain Giannis in this game, and it's going to give Lopez some open looks. And when he's seen this type of shot volume, he's cleared this total more often than not, especially without Bobby Portis on the court.
There we go. Steve Seagrave with a prop bet for us, and that was damn fast, Steve. I can't find that picture. I'm going to have to look for that picture tomorrow.
I could have pulled it. I could have drawn it out a little bit more for you.
No, please don't do that. We still got 2 guests, and I'm going to do the entire NHL board, and there's a big slate. Look at that. Prez, a.k.a. Mr. Cool. Oh, yeah, baby. And I also went under Lord Dude as my online poker playing name. So if I am not the narcissist of all time, I don't know who is. In high school, I'm Mr. Cool. After that, I'm Lord Dude. Now I'm the Prez. Yeah. Anyway, Steve Seagrave, Johnny just texted me to remind everyone about $2 Tuesday. I wouldn't have forgot, bro. It's not. It's $2 Thursday over at Sportsmemo. You are the $2 handicapper, and you have been kicking ass.
Yes, sir.
Tell us what you got going with the clients.
So I have a 5% NBA max bet locked and loaded for $2 Thursday, and I'm actually 3-0 on the $2 plays, whether it be Tuesday or Thursday. But more importantly, I'd love for everyone to grab the $2 play. But the good folks at Sportsmemo also gave me a great package where you can get a year-long all-access for $67 a month, and that's $700 off of the normal price. And number 1 at Sportsmemo over the last 365 days, up 98 units across all sports. So that pays for the package, and then for $100 better, they'd be up nine grand as well. So we're focusing on the long term here, and I'd love for everyone to grab the $2 play, but that year-long pass is a great deal that we're running for the rest of the month.
That is for sure. Guys, head over to Sportsmemo. Try Steve Seagrave out. It's only $2. That's the price of 3 sips of that coffee you got from Dunkin' Donuts. So please check him out over at Sportsmemo. And there's lots going on over at Sportsmemo. Lots of handicappers there. Most of the guys are doing great. Check that site out. There's been a lot of changes of late. Steve, thank you so much for joining us, dude. What a pleasure. Let's keep this show moving along. Andy Lang every day, me and you. What's going on, my brother?
Not much, Lord Dude. That's an all-timer. Yeah. Lord Dude is great. It's really good. I feel like if you're Lord Dude, you have to speak in the third person.
Well, it's not like I've not spoken in the third person, my brother. I mean, yeah, I speak in the third person regularly. But anyway, so those are all my names. What does Johnny write? My days blend, nothing important. Okay, important. Andy Lang, you keep coming on here with prop bets on KCP.
Because they keep hitting.
Okay. KCP, let's go.
You guys aren't going to believe this, but we're going to take Kentavious Caldwell-Pope under 1.5 made three-pointers. I know. Shocking. But it just keeps hitting. He's gone under in 17 out of 20 games. The last 10 games, he's only attempting 2.4 three-point shots. He's shooting 32% from threes. Prez, in KCP's last game, he had 0 shot attempts. I don't mean 0 three-point shot attempts. He shot the ball 0 times. His job is to facilitate and play good defense. It's not to score. We will keep riding this, even though it's minus 200.
There we go. KCP under 1.5 made threes. Live golf, Andy. Let's keep it rolling. Tyler Hatton, matchup against Bryson DeChambeau. How do we bet this matchup?
Yeah, I'm going to take Hatton over DeChambeau. This course that they're playing is truly insane. It's like a fantasy land. Like it seriously looks like a cartoon. And it does not set up well for Bryson DeChambeau. He cannot overpower this course. There's dog legs galore. There's water everywhere. You got to be delicate and accurate. That's not really his game. He was -5 here last year. Hatton was 6 shots better. Hatton hasn't looked great, but 6th, 23rd, and 20th. Bryson's finishes have gotten worse each tournament. He finished 20th last week. This course is just terrible for Bryson's game. Love Hatton in this matchup.
Guys, yesterday Andy Lang came on. He was on a 10-1 all sports run. I hope every one of you purchased these plays. He ended up having another winning night. He is now on a 13-2 all sports run and a 32-10 NBA run. He's up 58 units in 2025. I keep telling you guys over and over again how good Andy is. He does not disappoint. So well done, dude. Another great night by you. What do you got going with the clients tonight?
We got darts. Darts package starts here in about 2 hours. So go ahead and grab that. You know what? I'm not putting up any NBA or NHL plays tonight. Sometimes the vibe is not good on the day. And today's been a little bit of a rocky morning for me. So I'm not going to put up any plays for tonight. Going to take the night off and have some family time.
There we go. Enjoy. Andy, we got one NHL play. What is it?
Yeah, Ryan Donato under 2.5 shots on goal, under in 9 out of 10 games, under in 62% of games this season. He's only getting 3.5 shot attempts per game, not firing the puck a bunch, but went under in his last game against San Jose. So all trends point to another under here for Donato.
There we go. Andy Lang, outstanding segment, brother. One more day. That's tomorrow. We'll see you then. Okay, guys, shout out to everybody in the chat room. Paul B. Daddy, Pezzi, Bill Sandoval, Eric, Natural Watch, all of you guys' legs. Really, really appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to log into the chat room. We do have some news. B. Daddy will be joining Sportsmemo. I had a great performance on the show last week. We're going to see how he does. So you guys will be able to follow B. Daddy's start of his handicapping career over at Sportsmemo. So check that out. He should be up eminently. We still got Gianni the Greek to come. But man, there is a big, big slate of NHL games going tonight. And I absolutely love this NHL card. So let's get straight into it. Tampa Bay playing Philadelphia tonight. And look, Tampa Bay rolled off 8 in a row. Since then, they've gone 2-3. They've just lost their last 2 games against Boston and Carolina. They were able to put up 1 goal over that stretch, but they did allow 8. I think it's a good spot to bet Tampa Bay here, but I don't like minus 160. I don't think there's much value there. Where I'm going to go is on under the total of 6. And I really like this play, guys. To give you perspective, Philadelphia in their last 4 games has scored 5 goals. 5 goals in their last 4 games. 2 against Ottawa, 1-1, and 1 in the 3 prior. And Tampa Bay, as we spoke about, 1 goal in their last 2. I think we see Tampa Bay play much better defense. This is a little high at 6. Take under the total. As for Vegas and Columbus, man, I was really hoping for a 6. If there was a 6 out there, the over would have been a client play for me. At 6.5, I still like it, but I'm not going to release it as a client play. And the bottom line here is Columbus is 38-24-2 to the over this year. They've gone over in their last 2 games. They've gone over 6 of their last 7. And this team just keeps finding ways to score. Defensively, they're horrible, and Vegas should have no problem putting up 3 to 4 goals on them as well. Vegas has scored 11 goals in their last 3 games, so over the total in the Vegas-Columbus game. Pittsburgh playing St. Louis tonight. This is a game that I'm going to pass on, but if I had to make a bet, I would lean on St. Louis at minus 135. A lot of money coming in on Florida today. They're playing Toronto. Toronto's now plus 115 dog. I like the Leafs in this spot, and I don't quite understand the line move. Firstly, the Leafs are in one of those great spots where they lost 3 in a row, and then they won a game in overtime, and I think that was a get-right game. They come back, and they play great tonight. As for Florida, this is a team that is coming into this game without Tkachuk, without Marchand, and without Ekblad. Toronto has got them as a wounded dog. Toronto is the bet in this game. Ottawa-Boston, I lean on the under in the Ottawa-Boston game. Edmonton and New Jersey. Man, this Edmonton team has really been confusing. We lost a few games with them of late. They just lost in Buffalo 3-2, and it's like just when you think that they are a team to bet against, they pop up and win. They're playing a New Jersey team off of 2 straight wins. I lean lightly on Edmonton minus the 135. And then we go to the New York Rangers at Minnesota. I like the under in this game. If you guys can get a 6 out there, this would have been a client play as a 6, but as a 5.5, I just like it, but I'm not releasing it. But the under is the play in that game. I like the LA Kings tonight against Washington, minus 125, short home favorite. And I like over the total in the Chicago-San Jose game. And that's something we're going to be seeing a lot of moving forward, is these 2 teams that are totally out of it. When they play against each other, we're going to look to take the over. So that's every game on the board in the NHL tonight. I have 1 client play up tonight as a 3% play. I absolutely love it. You can check that out over at WagerTalk.com. I also have 2 totals in basketball, 1 college basketball total and 1 NBA total. And I am going to give you guys my entire college basketball pack for my clients. These are 3 plays, and they're all client plays. If you guys have been following my college basketball season, bet against all 3 of these plays, and you should do well. We're going to look at Marquette minus 2 to 2.5. We're going to look at Boise State minus 1.5. And we're going to look at under the total in the Stanford-Louisville game. So that's Marquette minus 2.5, minus 2, Boise State minus 1.5, and under 144.5 in the Stanford and Louisville game. Gianni The Greek joining us. How are you, my friend?
Busy morning, my man. Just firing college basketball. That's all it is. A little NBA. And got 2 UFC shows to tape later today. So just one of them busy days, my man. One of them busy days.
Well, let's start with UFC. What do you got for us?
All right, let me see what I could give you. Let's talk main event, because I already bet that one. And I know it's a rematch from the 2 years ago, Dolidze and Vettori. And Vettori was like a minus 275 favorite. That's what he opened. Closed around minus 250. And still very close fight, but he got the unanimous decision. Okay. Since then, he only had one fight where he lost another unanimous decision, and his opponent broke the record for middleweight strikes. So he landed 241 shots on Vettori, okay? Dolidze since then has beaten two mediocre opponents, two guys he should have beaten. So based on those short-term recency biased results, the lines dropped significantly from that first one, from like a minus 250 close to now a minus 150 for Vettori. And it reminds people of what happened last week when Fiziev was out for about the same amount of time, comes back against Gaethje. He was a much bigger favorite in the first fight. He lost split decision, a lot slower favorite against Gaethje in the second fight. What happens? Gaethje beats him. The narrative is same situation. Vettori's coming off the long layoff, that the line's adjusted for a reason. It's warranted. I'm telling you now, it's not warranted. Vettori's as tough as nails. And the guys that he's lost to is the elite at middleweight. That's the difference. His strength of schedule, it's not even close when you look at both of these fighters. And more importantly, he's a guy that's never been finished. And the last time around, it was a 3-round fight. This is a 5-round fight. And the one thing about Dolidze is he looks like a stacked, like huge middleweight. But those muscles takes oxygen, man. And the longer the fight goes, the deeper the waters and the more it benefits the Vettori side. So I really like Vettori. I think he should be a 2-1 favorite in this fight where he wins 2 out of 3 times. So I really like Vettori there. And just got a move from one of the guys I respect most that I bet for in MMA. And he just gave me an over in the Choi fight. But Lejos and Choi, we went over 1.5. About 135. It's probably going to be minus 140 on your screen now because we just bet it. And I agree with that side. I think this one has a lot higher probability of going to a decision than ending early. So those are 2 UFC plays for Saturday's card.
Gianni the Greek joining us. Gianni, every day this guy blocked Ed comes into the chat room and writes, Gianni is my idol. It's good to have one yeah, man, it's good to have one person who thinks you're idol worthy. For me, it's Hakeem Jeffries, huge fan. You don't even. Am I being sarcastic? I don't know.
Very
Hakeem
much,
Jeffries.
Very much so. I think you are.
My man, Hakeem Jeffries, my man. Anyway, let's move on because. Yeah, he's my idol. He's my idol. It's not a political thing. Anyway, I'm just playing around. What do you think of the hat? I bought it yesterday.
I love it. I was going to say Jesus, but you're not supposed to talk religion either. You can't talk politics. You can't talk religion.
Hey,
that's what they say.
Hey, Jesus wasn't religious, Gianni.
That's true. That's true.
Right.
That's true.
It's actually a brilliant quote by Gandhi. A brilliant quote. He writes, it's actually one of the greatest quotes I've ever heard in my life. And Gandhi said it, and he said, God is not religious.
Yeah, we created that. Yeah, man did that to manipulate. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
so right.
let's not go
Save
there.
That for another conversation. Save that for a podcast.
Yes. Okay, anyway, so there you go, everybody. My idol is Hakeem Jeffries. Yes. Sure, DePrez. Gianni, tomorrow I'm going to have a picture of my breakdancing days up live on the show, so stay tuned for that. Let's get into some college basketball and NBA. What do you got?
Imagine if there were phones back then that you could have videotaped it. Just imagine how lucky these young kids are if you would have had that, if you breakdancing back in the 80s. How great would that be? I know.
I wish.
Busy day in college basketball. Let me give you some of these sides and totals that we already got down on. 729. Oh, that one went off. A lot of early games today. This one I don't think has gone off yet. 7-16 Toledo, or if it has, Toledo plus the 3. Here's a late game for sure. Villanova, Connecticut, under 135.5 game, 744. I don't love that game, man. I'm seeing when I see the recreational bettors and the sharp bettors all on the same side, it makes me nervous during conference tournaments because the lines are so tight that shouldn't happen as often. And anytime it's happened to date, it hasn't gone all that well. But both sides are on under in the Villanova game. Also 736 under SMU and Clemson. What else do I have for you? 764 under 147 Charlotte, Florida Atlantic. A couple sides for you. 786 Iona on the money line and -1. Also 739 over 145 in Marquette and Xavier. And where was that one? One more side I thought I had for you. Oh, Stanford, 733 Stanford plus the 11 in that game. Still a little early. The weekend should be really, really busy, worth of moves. But so far, that's pretty much what we've gotten down on for Thursday's action.
There we go, Gianni. Anything golf-wise and any other sports?
No, and I got asked that already because it's that time of year where people are starting to get excited for a few golf tournaments. And usually get some matchups. Haven't received any so far. So not a tournament that I've gotten involved with, or the guys that I at least work with have gotten down on. And real quickly, because I know you're a huge NHL fan, I'd like to tell you what jumps out. St. Louis was a dog. Now they're a favorite. It looks like sharps bet them, and then everybody else bet them as well at a much different number. And finally, a line that's moving the other way, it's Tampa. 100% of the money. Like every ticket that this guy's booked on NHL is on Tampa Bay over the Flyers as road favorites. And LA also getting a lot of money. But that's a later game, and a lot of times that changes between early in the day and later on. But Tampa's not going to change. Like there's all parlays tied into Tampa, straight bets tied into Tampa. Is it just a fade on Philly or a bet on Tampa?
I think it's a bit of both, actually. And for me, well, that's always what I'm looking for. So, anytime I'm releasing a play to the client, it's a bet against and a bet on. If it's only a bet on, I'm not betting it. So I'm always looking for both. And I think it's both. And I think the Flyers are a fade team moving forward. But I prefer the under in that game. I mean, for me, I thought the value was under 6, given that.
Oh, they're betting it over. Wow, they're betting it over too.
Yeah.
Like I don't. There's not a single. The parlays are with the over. There's not a single under straight bet there. Not a ton of over straight bets, but all the parlays are tied in with the over. Tampa and over.
And Gianni, it's one of those sort of theories where. A team like Philadelphia has scored 5 goals in 4 games. 5 goals in 4 games. So, Tampa Bay has scored 1 goal in their last 2 games. So it's like, for me, the two different schools of thoughts are they in current form and this is how it's going to be for the next little while? Or was that, everything always comes back to the means. Is this the game where they score 7? I don't ever go that way. I always look at what is their current form, and that's how it's going to be until it changes. So,
and it usually takes a little while to change. It doesn't happen overnight. So that's a very good way to look at it.
Yeah, and I do that especially with side bets. For me, what I'm looking for in the NHL is, a team goes on a good team, let's say, Colorado Avalanche, they lose 5 straight. Now, I'm not going to try figure out, is it the 6th game they're going to win? What I'm interested in is the game after they win. So, that's sort of where I'm looking. I want a good team to lose 5, 6 in a row, win a game, and then let's go.
Yeah, that's right. Because you don't want to bet against streaks. We talk about that all the time. Right. You're only going to cash 1 ticket, but you can lose multiple tickets. Wait for the streak to end, then determine whether they fall back to form losing or whether they're about to get hot. And if it's a good team, that's usually what they needed, a win to get that out of their system, those losses. That's a good approach.
There we go. Gianni The Greek, everyone. We got the show in at 12:45 p.m. Eastern. Shout out To all our guests today, Teddy Covers, Kyle Anthony, Steve Seagrave, Andy Lang, Gianni the Greek. Tomorrow we got a great lineup. Ralph Michaels coming on. We're going to continue looking at some college basketball. We're going to look at some high-profile games all on television. We got Andrew Bapakitis talking from the Westgate, talking UFC. Ross Benjamin with more college basketball. Andy Lang and Gianni the Greek. Make sure to check us out tomorrow, Friday, noon Eastern time, right here. On behalf of Dan Alexander and myself, see you on the slopes.